a lot's been happening in the Magic community recently, and I've just not even known, not really known where to start. One part of me has wanted to talk about the Lord of the Rings drama and getting right into kind of the racist comments that are going on just over Aragorn. But then the other parts of me actually wants to talk about the set and the cards I'm excited about. But it's just kind of been this really stressful process of like not really wanting to make videos because you're just watching the Magic community completely destroy themselves. So I thought it would be respectful to at least mention the drama that's going on around Aragorn, but then hopefully kind of move on and talk about some other stuff that's going on that I think is generally interesting, and I want to talk about it. So you're probably wondering if you've been under a rock and you haven't been paying attention to this drama. Well, here's the picture that caused the issue. It's just Aragorn being black, and for a lot of people, this is a huge issue because Aragorn's white in the books. And for a lot of people, this is a major issue. I think the two arguments I'd say that I to just kind of generalize it, the two arguments that I've seen going against this version of Aragorn is one, it's not lore accurate. Tolkien wouldn't want this. You're disrespecting Tolkien. Two, this is not even a nice thing. This is just Wizards of the Coast being woke and trying to be cool and progressive. And so obviously those are the reigning opinions. And man, going through the comments, it's rough. It's really rough. A lot of people going into what Tolkien would think, or just straight up, this is stupid. I hate this. People just kind of going off about how Aragorn doesn't have to be white, or he does have to be white. It's really just kind of a mixed bag of chaos, and I have to be honest, I really tried to stay out of it, but found myself getting a little bit too heated in the comments as well, in the sense that I was really annoyed that people were annoyed by this. And I want to just kind of quickly touch on it without making it the entire video. But I think it's very important to talk about the fact that Aragorn, in a lot of ways, is described as more of a white character. I think there's actual proof in the book that that's what Tolkien probably wrote him as. But I also think it's important to I think he like calls him a shaggy, like pale faced man. So it's not like there isn't evidence that he is white. But at the same time, I think the main thing we need to talk about is that this is a fantasy story. And so a lot of people are kind of putting this up for debate. Like, can you race swap somebody who is really just, in the end of the day, a character and not really a skin color? Does the skin color play anything into their character, or are we just kind of projecting that onto the character? Is it because so many white people enjoy this character and grew up with the character from the movies? Are we now projecting that this character always has to be white? And I think this is something that we really do need to talk about more, that I think it is in some cases disrespectful to black people to just kind of throw them into a character that wouldn't ever, act the way that, just kind of like taking over a white person and then like having them just act the same can kind of be a little sketch. It kind of almost says, oh, black people aren't any different than white people, but that's not true. Like, we are all very different, culture to culture. People are different. People communicate differently. People think differently. That's not a bad thing. That's actually what makes life so cool and makes people and different cultures cool. Something that a lot of Magic players don't seem to like is different cultures and different types of people, and that's not new. We knew that this was going to have a lot of outrage. I think Magic and I think Wizards knew this was going to have a huge amount of outrage. People are not happy that Aragorn's black, and they're not going to stop being unhappy by it. I've already seen people come out with alternate versions of this picture, even as a Viggo Morrison-esque Aragorn, really showing us that it's not even about the book. It's just, we want Viggo Morrison. We want the white, the guy who we love in the Lord of the Rings movie, which, don't get me wrong, I love the movies. I love Viggo Mortensen. He is in a lot of ways truly Aragorn embodied, but I also don't really think that that's the only way he can be presented. Mainly because he's in a fantasy world and race doesn't play as big of a factor in how that character functions. So, yeah, I don't really have a problem at all with Aragorn being presented this way. Does it make it hard for me to believe it's Aragorn? Yeah, because that's the thing, is because he's such a character, him just in a picture doesn't do anything. Like you can say this is Aragorn, but it's hard for me to know without having him function in a real world. Like if we saw a movie with this character existing and it was Aragorn, then I think it would click a lot better for me. I think I would be able to be like, oh, that's Aragorn, because he'd act like Aragorn. And that's my point. Is that's why this doesn't really matter. That's why I don't think it's a bad thing that he's one, I don't think it's a bad thing that he's a black guy, but two, I also don't think it matters what race he is at all, because again, his character is the center of everything. And so I think it would be really cool to see, what this character would be like in a movie, not that we're going to ever see that, but I think it is something that I definitely was interested in when I was looking at this. It was like, maybe one of the reasons why this is such a problematic thing for some people. I think most people are just racist. I think it's as simple as that. I think you can just boil it down to racism. But for maybe some people, maybe it'd be easier to kind of process it and feel like it's Aragorn if he actually could like move and talk and function and be a real person. But because this is just a picture, it's a lot harder to connect. But I'm not going to give excuses to people being jerks about it. I think in the end of the day, if you have a problem with this picture, it's probably a you problem. I think if anything, you can talk about how the sword isn't as cool as we were kind of hoping it'd be. It's a little bit too magical in some ways, but I think also this is kind of where Magic the Gathering thrives, is they like making things look magical. And I think Lord of the Rings getting a little bit of a magic treatment to it is very cool. So I'm also not against this, how this sword looks at all. And I also, again, I'm just excited to see this set exist. So I'm pretty pumped about it. So overall, that's the controversy. And again, going into the other point that people are making, which is this just Wizards of the Coast making a woke move? I think that's probably true. I think most corporations do things to just please people and feel like they're relevant. Now, I will say, just because a corporation does something that is a little bit cold, in the sense that it doesn't really have a heart behind it, it's just more of a thing that you do. I will say that I absolutely believe that the people behind this art, the people behind this project, really, really had a passion for it and wanted this to come to life. I don't have a problem with that. And I think coming from a company, I work for a company that also does a lot of this stuff, not art necessarily, but works as, it's a big brand. And one of the things that we try to do is be very inclusive. It's a part of the brand. And it's important that you do that. Yeah, do I think all the executives spend all their day thinking about how to be inclusive? Absolutely not. But it is still something that we value as a company, and individuals care about it too. So Wizards hasn't backed down from this, and they have they haven't pulled a Target where they just kind of like pull out, and they just switch out, the black Aragorn with the white Aragorn. No, they've just stuck with it, and they've been this way forever. So at least they have the guts to stick it out, and I respect that absolutely. So I'm excited to see this black version of Aragorn, if we're gonna call it that. Very weird. I don't know what the big deal is. So anyway, that's the racism news. We're done with that. We're gonna put it away. I really am disappointed in the community, and I think if you are upset about this, my last words to you are, bro, just get over yourself. And I'm sorry that you're so upset about it, but like, genuinely, get over yourself. It's lame, and it just shows that you really don't have really anything else to think about. And honestly, it's not that big of a deal. I think it's totally fine. You're just really stuck in your ways, and you need to just kind of chill out. Just chill out about it. At least chill out. It's gonna be okay. Moving on to less controversial news, I really wanted to talk about the set in general, and I was sad that this racism kind of thing kind of killed the mood a little bit. And it's okay. We need to talk about it. But at the same time, I feel like there's so much more we should be talking about. So that's what I'm going to do. I want to talk about what I'm personally upset about in this set. Not upset about Aragorn, but I am upset about this card. The Nazgul card finally was revealed. I know a lot of you for those who have followed me or know anything about me, I was very excited for these cards. And I'm excited about the Witch King. I love those cards, but I have some beef with this particular card. And I want to end this video talking just specifically about why I'm annoyed with this card. So I'm not necessarily mad. I genuinely actually am okay with this card. I'm only like slightly mad about it because there's only a few things wrong with the card in my opinion. First off, 3 mana, totally fine. I'm all about this because this is probably going to end up being a mono black deck with the Witch King, or you could go with Sauron the Necromancer. Both of those cards, I think, there's 2 Witch Kings that we've seen so far, and both of those seem pretty cool too. I think that both of them work. They're a bit expensive in the sense they're like 5 mana, but again, I think this would be a really dope mono black deck for Nazgul. So you can have 9 of these same cards. This is very cool. Again, I wanted to see 9 different Nazgul. I wanted to see them all named. I was under the impression they all had names because each king had a name, so I figured they would just follow that. But it seems that they just kind of went with 1 card, but there was 9 of them, which makes sense. It doesn't make me mad, and I think it's actually kind of cool, especially since they made sure to have 9 different kinds of art. So you kind of get the same concept, except they all do the same thing. The thing that really bothers me, and we'll talk about the ETB and the 1/1 counters. We'll talk about that in a second, but we really want to focus on that freaking Death Touch. I'm not saying Death Touch is a bad mechanic, but I'm saying that it's a tired, boring mechanic. I have so much Death Touch in my collection and so much Death Touch just in my life that I'm just ready to see it end. I don't want to see any more Death Touch. I'm just kidding. I don't think Death Touch should stop existing. But I think for this, there were so many other options. Now, I tweeted about this where I said, why did we not get Shadow? Fear, Intimidate. So, there was a bunch of different abilities that would have been really, really cool. I think Shadow personally was the most dope. And I think the reason why Shadow would have worked is because we have Witch King of Angmar, I think it is, or like Witch King. One of the Witch Kings allows you to like take out defending creatures. I think it would have been really cool to have him kind of go in and wipe out other creatures, but then and you have like lots of removal on other people's boards. But then your Nazgul are kind of de-opt in the sense that they have Shadow, so they can't be blocked, but they can't block either. So you're kind of like trying to wipe other people's boards, but you're also unblockable. So even if they do have ways to block you, they can't do anything about it, and they just get bigger and bigger. I just think it would have been really, really cool. I think Death Touch doesn't really add anything to these cards. It's like, I guess you can just like, block and take something out with your Nazgul. I mean, it just feels like this is going to get my Nazguls killed a lot. Maybe when they're buffed, this is going to get really OP. But I'm personally kind of sad about this because it just feels like this is going to be, I don't know, a little bit tried and true, kind of like boring, kind of like whatever. It works. It's a thing. I'm not mad about it necessarily. I just think it's kind of boring. I think Fear or Intimidate would have been cool, just because they're flavorful. I don't know. I think Fear personally, I don't see a lot of that in the game, so it would have been cool to kind of see that make a comeback too. But I think Shadow is really what we wanted to see, and I think everybody I talk to when I say, "Hey, don't you think Shadow would have been a better thing?" People will say, "Yeah, that makes total sense," and it would have been cool because if other people are playing Nazgul, those, it kind of makes your Nazgul a little bit less of a problem for them because they can just block your Nazgul. Maybe they just added more Shadow in the set in general where it would have been really, really cool. I don't know. Maybe they tried it out at one point and it wasn't working, but I'm a little bit sad about this. But hey, you know what? I can forgive Magic for making one little mistake. I will say that everything else other than this card is just super sick. The enter battlefield effect is one that we're going to see a lot in this set, which is the ring tempts you. So these things are going to, you're going to be able to use this with your ring bearer, and you're going to be able to do so many cool things. Also, I think they would have been cool that the ring gives shadow, right? Because we know that the ring, when Frodo puts it on, he like disappears and stuff. I just feel like that shadow should have been in the set, but it's okay. I'm not mad. I'm just a little bit disappointed. When the ring tempts you, put a 1/1 counter on each wraith you control. I think this is going to be really cool, because you just want to get your dudes tempted as much as possible by the ring, and then just win the game by having big boy wraiths. I'm very excited about it. Very cool. This is what I was waiting for the set, so I was so excited to see this previewed, and there's so many other sick cards. I'm just kind of like not even reading really, because I just didn't really want to get it spoiled for me too much. I think I'm just going to enjoy opening this set, and I hope you guys do too. That's all I have to talk about for this video. Oh my word, what a wild day it's been. More videos coming. I'm going to do some more light-hearted videos. I have some really cool Commander videos coming soon. The podcast is coming back. I've just been a little bit on a hiatus because things have been crazy, and also the Magic community has been super toxic, and I haven't wanted to make a video about it. So here I am covering all the news. That's it, guys. There's really no other drama other than just, the 1/1 ring is coming out and everyone's freaking out about it being, I don't know, curled, I guess. Anyway, see you guys in the next video. Subscribe if you don't mind, because I'm going to be pumping out more content about what's going on in the community, as well as keeping up with how to play Commander better, talking about Commander strats, different commanders to try out, and we're also going to be covering this set, and I will be reviewing it when it comes out. So see you guys real soon. Goodbye. Have a good one.